Well, it was on the cards, wasn't it? A massive total to chase against a bowling attack that has a lot of variety. Taskin Ahmed, Shoriful Islam, Shakib Al Hassan, their captain in charge, and they were never really allowed Afghanistan to get going in that chase. You're watching Cricbuzz Live, joined by Bhattacharjya and Dinesh Karthik. Not an unexpected result.
A little unexpected. I expected Afghanistan to have much more of a fight last evening. But they just didn't turn up like how Bangladesh didn't turn up the previous game. I thought right from the outset, 14 runs in the first over, massive drop of energy in the field after a certain stage from Afghanistan, and a distinct difference with Bangladesh with how well they fielded, held on to their catches. Have to say it was a very ordinary effort from Afghanistan. They're way better than what the scoreline is, and they would like to up their performance.
Joyce, it's very often we say it's not the result as such, but it's the manner of defeat that will hurt Afghanistan a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think till they were first, Zadran played absolutely beautifully. They stitched together that partnership. They were doing well out there. The problem was once they started losing wickets, they had nowhere to go. And I think that's the thing. From 212 onwards, you see there's a steady decline, one wicket after the other, and they just couldn't get their act together after that towards the end.
Yes, 2 centurions in that first innings for the Bangladeshis, which helped them go up to 334, which I'm sure they would have believed will be enough to notch up a win in this group of death. Remember, Afghanistan have another game to play, but this massive win will make their net run rate look very, very different. And DK, you are known as a finisher and a star chaser. We've all seen on so many occasions that when you're chasing such a big total, you need one massive partnership, which never really happened for Afghanistan.
Sadly, yes. When you look at how Afghanistan batted, for some strange reason, they really didn't push in the middle overs. I could understand the power play. You got to understand the major difference between Bangladesh and Afghanistan today as we speak is the difference in the bowling quality of the fast bowlers. Out of the 10 wickets that Bangladesh picked up, 8 were from fast bowlers, and it tells you a story in itself. So the middle overs, you need to push, you need to stay with the run rate. I can understand if you're chasing 6.5, you fall back to about 8, 8.5. But when after 30 overs or 35 overs, you're looking at 10 runs and over, you probably have left too much for the middle order batsmen. And then you saw with just a couple of wickets fall, the game completely went out of your hand. And that's not how you chase a 50-over game.
What's the new points table looking like after this 89-run win for the Bangladeshis? They are still at number 2, but Afghanistan with minus 1.174 will need more than a miracle against Sri Lanka in their second and last group game. It will take an effort for them to pull themselves out of this hole.
But see, at least they're in a better situation if they win it. The situation is like this. If Bangladesh had got an even more comprehensive victory, they could have been in a situation where it didn't matter who qualified from the other side, who won the last match, they would have qualified either way. But that did not happen. At this point, they still need at least a small margin of defeat or a victory from the side of Sri Lanka.
We saw how Shoriful Islam began. He looked a lot more comfortable, a lot more in control today as opposed to that first game. It's a great sight for us as fans to, in that action replay, to see that seam coming down beautifully. Shoriful Islam was having a party against Rahmanullah Gurbaz, especially at the start.
You could see the ball was swinging. You didn't see that from any of the bowlers, which tells me that he has a great wrist position and he's in a confident space as a bowler, because when you release a ball, you get a certain feeling, and I think Shoriful Islam is feeling the ball going out of his hand nicely, and that's a good sign because he created LBW opportunities. He got Rahmanullah Gurbaz LBW, but didn't go for the DRS. The other one, he appealed and they ended up giving it on field. But you can see how much he troubled the batters. And his first spell, bowling 4 overs, just going for 15 runs, it was great to watch him bowl. Taskin, on the other hand, showed his skills later on in his second and third spell. But Shoriful really set the tone for Bangladesh and applied a lot of pressure on Afghani batters. Came back in the second spell, got hit for a 6. But then found a way to get Gulabdin out, and I think he looks like a bowler who is sorted and ready to play. Now the big question is, when Mustafizur comes back, will he take Hassan's place? Because Shoriful and Taskin Ahmed looks like sure shot starters.
If Shoriful can keep doing this, it will take the pressure off Taskin as well, and that's a win-win scenario for Bangladesh.
No, I think look at them. Each of their bowlers did their job. I mean, Taskin had pressure on one side. Shoriful, brings the ball back, got that very important wicket. Look at Hassan. If you that crucial wicket was that of Ibrahim Zadran.
Yeah.
And he got him exactly at the right spot. Of course, he took a fantastic catch from Mushfiqur Rahman. But what it does mean is all the fast bowlers have done their job. Because as you know, DK is saying, you expect the Bangladesh spinners to do their job. The Afghan spinners have also done their job. But it's the difference in the fast bowling. Fazal Haq Farooqi, their top fast bowler, didn't finish.
Yep.
He had just 6 overs.
Yep.
So this is what it tells you. And that 8 wickets versus, the number of wickets they have taken, that difference is very, very stark out here.
That Zadran innings, he looked to be in the zone to fight more. He seemed to have the appetite, but I suppose it was a very lonely experience out there because I thought Rahmat Shah was struggling, but credit where it's due, Zadran fought well as much as he could.
Zadran was the best batter for Afghanistan by a distance today. The way he approached his inning, the kind of boundaries that he hit, we spoke about it in the comm box as well. He looked like a sorted batter. You can see the stats back it up. Joyda was talking about how strong his stats were compared to the rest of the world when they've just played that amount of matches. He is right up there with the top. Tells you a story in itself. Like you can see Fakhar Zaman, Imamul Haq, and then after that you have Ibrahim Zadran. And we're talking about a long list of players who have played this game. It shows that this Afghani batter is there for the long haul, and that's good ominous signs for Afghanistan cricket.
And had Mushfiqur not taken that catch, who knows? Zadran might have made a match out of this chase. We've got to have you talk about that catch.
It was a splendid catch simply because, yes, it was a diving effort, but what was great about Mushfiqur Rahim's effort was it was a little further than he thought. And he had, if you do watch the replay closely, he went a little further than he could at the last moment. And that, for me, tells you a keeper who was concentrating. A lot of keepers on instinct will just dive, hoping that it'll come into the glove. But when Mushfiqur made that effort, he was concentrating enough to know that dive wasn't going to be just enough, and he put out a little bit extra, and that's why he got it in the center of the glove. It could have easily hit the tip of the fingers and just dropped down, but the special part of the catch was the fact that he went that bit extra, which is probably one of the better catches that Mushfiqur Rahim has taken in his career, because you got to understand he's on the other side of 30. He's fit for a keeper, no doubt about it. Doesn't keep in test matches anymore. So the volume would have come much lesser in terms of how much he practices, because he must be just doing a job in ODI cricket right now. Not so much even in T20, but it was good to see that catch being taken by a man of his age more than anything else.
Joy, in the last few days, having seen young Pragnananda's exploits on that chessboard, we are starting to use more chess analogies. In this chessboard of this chase, was Rahmat Shah the wrong move at number 3?
Look, it's not that powerful a batting lineup that you had too many options to go with. And the way Zadran was going, if Ibrahim Zadran had stayed, it would have still made sense, because he had that ability to score these kind of runs. Yes, Hasmatullah Shahidi will look at that innings and say, could I have gone in earlier and maybe accelerated the innings a bit faster and allowed less pressure itself? Look, had Zadran not got out, Ibrahim Zadran not got out the way he did, had that catch not been held, things could have been very, very different. Because remember, that time also they're going at 7.5, 8, 8.5. You still think they can catch up. It's once it crosses 10, after that it just goes out of control totally.
They seem to get into a bit of a hole after that Zadran dismissal. I just saw on that batting card, Rashid Khan at number 9. If you saw him bat, you'd think, why is he there at number 9? Why not higher up? Just to stir things up a little bit.
I agree in a way, because we are used to Rashid Khan's credentials as a batter in IPL, so we feel that. But in international cricket, it works very differently. There are a number of batters who have been earmarked for a certain role, and hence they will try to stick to that. I feel that Afghanistan can be a lot more fluid. I have a feeling that Rahmat Shah really needs to look at the way he bats. If he is batting with a Cricbuzz, then it is a good option. But if Zadran is batting, you'd rather get in a Shahidi, A, because he's a left-hander, B, just like Rahmat Shah, he takes time to start. But the key part about Hashmatullah Shahidi is the fact that he seems to not be comfortable against the short ball. Yeah. So he seems to be more used to batting spinners and can take on the spinners. So that put a lot of pressure on Ibrahim Zadran, and he was trying his best out there till he got nicked off. And then when Hashmatullah Shahidi got out, it left a lot for the middle order batsmen to do.
And Afghanistan had a master tactician on the opposite side. Shakib Al Hasan had a terrific day out there as a captain, of course. The fact that he had 334 runs in his pocket made life much easier, but he used his resources really well.
He is a very canny captain. He's a very canny captain, very experienced captain. Knew when to win the fast bowlers. Remember how he bought the back. Shariful came back in a spell. He bought him back. He got the wicket. Hassan in the middle, coming back, taking that wicket. He used his resources very, very smartly. And you have a look at it. He's used 7 bowlers. He's turned it around. He himself has not bowled out. But he's used them so well. He still had enough bowlers. He had 2 bowlers out there. He had 1 more over, 3 overs of them, 2 overs of himself right at the end. So he had enough bowlers to complete if necessary. But he knew that when the wickets were going down, bring Tuscan in early, finish it off now. When you're 7 and 8, finish it off now. And I like that strategy. I like it because if you remember the previous match, we were talking about how sometimes captains leave it too late. Bring on their proper fast bowler too late and not give yourself that opportunity, or not bring on the spinner in time. And I think he rang in the changes as he saw them. The moment he saw them collapsing, 230 odd for 5, 6, 7, bring in Tuscan. Let's take that wicket, let's finish it.
Lessons for Afghanistan.
Lessons, quite a few. For a start, they really need to buck up on their fielding front. I thought it was a very, very ordinary effort from an international team. The kind of energy that they had on the field. Yes, in ODI cricket, one thing is guaranteed. There is going to be a middle phase between 11 and 40 where the action might not be electric. But as a fielding unit, you need to have the intensity right up there, especially if you're not picking up wickets. That is an area right from the start where they were struggling with. You're over-reliant on spinners. Is there a fast bowler who's going to help you out? Is Naveen ul Haq an answer? Are you looking at somebody else? Are you going to stick to this? Then are you going to use them in shorter spells but much quicker bursts? The last part of it. Don't leave too much to do with at the end of an inning. Try and keep up with the run rate to a very acceptable mark. 10 overs, 80, 85 is gettable. When you get to 100, then you need 2 set batters at the crease and cruising hopefully for you to get a chase if you want to score those big runs.
Joy Bhattacharya has a new takeaway from this game. He's got a new quiz question to his bank. Mujib has become the first player in ODI history to be out-hit wicket twice in a row.
Twice in a row?
Yeah, is what I've been told.
Excellent. I'll keep that. I can't use it now. I'll use it at a time and later. But he's raised a very interesting thing. You were talking about having Rashid Khan bat up the order. The question is that, you have people like Karim Jannat and Gulbuddin who have been picked as all-rounders. Now, you pick them as all-rounders, then you play Rashid with them. And the point is, even if it makes sense, it just will not happen because at some level you're demoralizing them, some level they're thinking to themselves, what exactly are we doing in this team? So it's not an easy decision to take when you have supposedly all-rounders ahead of you in this thing, and you're regarded as a big hitter but not really an all-rounder.
Is Rashid Khan a bona fide all-rounder in your book?
In T20 cricket, for sure. He is a genuine bowler who can obviously produce cameos with the bat as well. In ODI cricket, he is doing the right role batting at number 9 because he'll give you what he gives you in T20 with the bat. I think what Joyda said is very, very right. Can they have used the batting order in such a way where they could have sent Nabi slightly ahead? Is that a possibility? Or a Karim Jannat, somebody who could obviously take risks but at the same time keep the scoreboard ticking by rotating singles. You need skill at that point of time. Rashid is an out-and-out hitter of a cricket ball and you want him at the back end, and you saw again what he did today. So for me, the bigger question is between Rahmat Shah and Hashmatullah, how are they going to balance that out?
Huge shot in the arm for Bangladesh's Asia Cup campaign. They would like to believe they will mostly make it through to the top 4 unless Afghanistan come up with a miracle against Sri Lanka in their next game. Moving on to what's in store on a Magic Monday at the Asia Cup. That's what's coming up. India versus Nepal. It's match number 5. It's coming to you from the Palikele International Stadium. Unfortunately, there is rain forecast. We just hope the rain gods relent and there is a full 100 overs of play or not. Or maybe an easier win for India. Jasprit Bumrah has returned to Mumbai for personal reasons, and that means there will be a forced change, Joy. Let's pull up the India squad and figure what that change could be.
I mean, I would love to see Shami bowling. I'm sure every one of us is waiting to see Shami. And the other point is that we really haven't seen him play one-day international cricket. I think last he played in March.
Yeah.
And after this, if you remember, he played the World Test Championships. After that, he's been rested for the last 2 tours. Yeah. So you've seen the rest. You haven't really seen Shami. Shiraj has been leading attack. Now Bumrah's come back, become captain. Come on, Shami is one of our Rolls Royces. Let's give him a bit of a run.
Bumrah is going to miss 1 game. He will be available for the Super 4 stage. That one change for you? Or more?
Just the one change. Mohammad Shami in for Jasprit Bumrah. I think it's pretty straightforward at this point of time.
And you'd want to see more of a sample size from Shreyas Iyer. Not 8 deliveries for sure.
In an ideal world, yes,
Yeah.
but I was very happy with what he did in the Pakistan game. I thought he got into good positions, like I said before.
Nepal will be facing India for the very first time. A massive loss against Pakistan in their opening game. Their Asia Cup debut would have perhaps shaken their confidence a little bit. But DK, if you were a consultant to the Nepalese cricket team, what would you be saying?
Enjoy the experience. It has not happened before. What you guys have done so far is very, very inspirational for the country. You know, playing the qualifiers like you did, winning 12 on the bounce to get into the World Cup qualifiers that happened in South Africa. It is not easily achievable. Not many teams can say that they have done that. So be very proud of what you've achieved. Don't get too disappointed with your losses that has happened against Pakistan and could in many ways happen against India if a full match takes place. I think it is a great experience where you get to rub shoulders with some of the best in the business. So enjoy, soak in the experience, and I'm sure you'll be better for the run.
And feel better.
Yeah, absolutely. But Monty Desai is, of course, there. And, he's been with Rajasthan, so many other teams. And he's telling his players, he says, okay, autographs, pictures later, play the game properly, finish this off. And obviously, they're really excited about playing. And I think they'll bring some of that excitement to the game. If they play with a bit of spirit, they show what they have, hit a few runs, bowl aggressively. They should just play aggressive and enjoy the experience.
They looked a bit fragile in the batting department against Pakistan. Is there a case for an extra batter to come in? They went in with 6 batters and 5 bowlers in that game against Pakistan. If we could pull up the Nepal squad, DK can tell us what that possible change could be, if at all.
You want to see Bhim Sharkey there, who's had again a good qualifiers that happened where he had a good role to play. It was surprising to see him not play. They went for a 6-5 combination. In an ideal world, they can get Bhim Sharkey in and obviously get the bowlers to obviously chip in with that extra, rather the batters to chip in with that extra bowlers, which could mean Arif Sheikh or even the likes of Gulshan Jha, who's surprisingly in the bowlers list, but he's more a batter. So, he could come in and roll his arm over because he has a role to do there. The key players there, if you do see, are right up there. Rohit Paudel, who's had a terrific knock against Scotland, 95 not out. They needed 80 runs with just 2 wickets in hand, and he helped team cross line. So he was a very key player. The opener, I think he is somebody who we all need to watch out for. He didn't get going last game, but interestingly, even though they got blown away by Pakistan, mainly by the fast bowlers, for 2 reasons. A, they wouldn't have played that kind of pace and that kind of seam movement as well. They've been playing on pretty placid wickets in Nepal, so that must have caught them a little unaware. But it is their batting which is their strength. Over a period of, in these 12 games that they played, when they in the lead up to the qualifiers, their batting actually helped them get there. They've beaten good sides like Papua New Guinea, Scotland, so they have pedigree in their side. We haven't seen it in action. I hope they bring it to the table tomorrow, because I think for a lot of players in that Nepal team to play against India is a dream in itself, because they've watched a lot of the heroes play IPL and represent the country. So it will be great to watch.
It's surely easier said than done. I can sit here and say whatever I want to, but it'll help to bat out the full 50 overs. We saw what happened to Bangladesh.
It's not easy, but definitely yes. The other thing I want to tell you is that there are 2 parts to it. One is it's a young side that hasn't played. Look at the age. Gulshan Jha is 17 years old. He played his first international match at the age of 15. Their captain, Rohit Paudel, is 20 years old, made his debut in 17. There are another 2 20-year-olds, one 22-year-old, a very young side, and that bodes well, because you have this great unit which comes together, plays matches against big sides like India and Pakistan, gains that experience. When they go back to playing associate nations and at that level, this, if they stay together, they keep that crew together, Gulshan Jha, crucial players, Rohit Paudel, Kushal Bhuttel, Bhim Sharkey, who though he didn't play the last match, Asif Sheikh, who's got a century for them. If these guys stay together, that core of 5, 6, 7 could serve them in the next 3, 4 years.
Yes, you can watch it to cheer your Indian team, but you'll also want to watch it to see the kind of spirit Nepal bring in this game against India. Well, we will do a more threadbare, a more detailed preview at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. But before we say goodbye, quickly, players to watch out for.
From India, I'm keen to watch out for Shreyas Iyer.
Okay.
Shami, haven't seen him for a while.
Nepal?
For Nepal, I would say I would like Rohit Paudel to get runs. Or I'm very keen on seeing Lalit Rajbanshi do his. He's a very good left-arm spinner. I'm looking forward to watching him bowl.
In that case, I'll definitely go for Kushal Bhuttel. Again, it's one of the guys who's their mainstay and he really hasn't got going.
Wow, it's just good to see, good to be a part of a cricket show where some newer names are being discussed, and I'm sure it's as exciting for fans back in Nepal as well who are watching Cricbuzz content on the internet. Before we say goodbye, we've got one more thing to do, which is the joy factor. What the question was, Joy, all yours now. Take it away.
Which Asian cricketer better known for his 10 international centuries? Actually, he's better known in India for one very separate reason. Has had 20 of his 110 international victims stumped. And the answer is Amir Sohail. Amir Sohail is the person, and of course in India we remember him for just Venkatesh Prasad. You say Amir Sohail, the name Venkatesh Prasad comes. But he was a very competent batsman, and with Saeed Anwar they formed a really difficult combination up front. Got plenty of runs for Pakistan. But that 20%, 18% is a huge margin, and you know as a keeper, that many stumped victims. Even somebody like Muthai Mulladan has only about 7-8%, or a Kumble has 7%. Of course, Kumble is very fast, but the closest to that is Subhash Gupta, who has about 13-14% of his victims stumped.
Wow, who got it right? Let's find out. It wasn't an easy one. I'm sure he would have had to go through. Rishi Rukiana. Well done,
Hasn't
Joy.
he got one just before this?
I suppose
think
so.
I saw his name. Well done, Rishi. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
It's not an easy one at all.
And we managed pretty well today, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Well done to all of us.
Well done to all of us. Well done to Shakib for bringing in the changes at the right time.
Credit to Shakib, honestly, rightly put, because you got to understand they were expecting a win, and like he rightly said at the top of the show, they wanted a big win. I think they achieved both.
A big win is what India needs as well, just to find their rhythm. Remember, there's a World Cup coming up. We'll come back to you at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Make sure you join us on Cricbuzz Live with Dinesh Karthik and Joy Bhattacharya. Good night. Sleep tight.